Really, it runs the whole gamut of what your community needs. It's not a one-trick pony. I mean, you can literally meet your needs in a lot of different ways without ever touching a weight, without ever getting on a treadmill. We are a lot of things to a lot of different type of people.
What's going on, everyone? It's the Talk About It podcast. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And this week we have a very exciting episode. First time ever sitting down and talking to professional pickleball player, Sam Brooks. Sam, how are you?
I appreciate you making that my moniker because it's true. You're the only one that's ever recognized that, but it's true.
I know good. You're working towards that professional status of pickleball.
My T-shirt after this game literally has a professional pickleball, literally.
Yeah,
I didn't mean anything, but I have it.
I have played with you. I know those.
You played once.
I played,
and you weren't invited back.
All right, I noticed that.
Nothing personal though.
Have you ever played pickleball? Victor?
Yeah, I used to play pickleball at the Y when I used to work there.
Did he play with you more than once?
I used to play with the older guys there.
We have two.
Now we're the older guys.
Yeah. And I'm graduating into that older guy.
Yeah,
you are.
That's what's pickleball, right? The one that you have the net and like similar to tennis,
it's like table tennis and
it's slower.
That sport is growing.
It's got a bad rap. It's only for older people.
Yeah,
I disagree with that.
It's not.
First
of all, and he's not a professional pickleball player.
I'm not.
You have many more titles and great things, great achievements in life than pickleball will ever lead you. I'm sure, but
unless I can get sponsorship, that's why I'm here today, so I can start making my way up the pickleball ladder. That's right.
Yeah, that's
right.
So funny.
That's right.
Stay out of the kitchen, and you might get there. I don't know.
And I play with guys who can't stay out of the kitchen. I won't name any names, Jeff Thompson. Won't name one name.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So we have a buddy, Scott, who can't either, and we call him Scotty Kitchens. It literally has become his nickname. You should throw that out.
You know what? That's good.
JT Kitchens.
JT
man.
Kitchens.
You should just get it. A T-shirt.
That's good. I'm going. And we always get T-shirts and make fun of each other. That's next on my list.
JT Kitchens.
JT
man.
Kitchens. Yeah.
I love that. We are off on a tangent already. I love it. Sam, some folks may not know who you are or much about you. Why don't you give like a little elevator speech or intro? Who's Sam Brooks?
I am the CEO at the Warren County YMCA here in Monmouth, Illinois. I got here in January 2001. And so I'm on my 22nd and a half year here in Monmouth. When my wife and I and our two kids moved to Monmouth, we thought this was going to be a 2 or 3 year stop and off we go. And we're going to go on to Bright Lights, big city and all that type of thing. And here we are 22 and a half years later. Monmouth is our home. It's our community. And so that's what I do at the Y. We've been through a lot of changes along the way, but things are going great. I've got a wife, Sherry, of 31 years, and I do have that correct.
Good.
No, 30 years.
Oh,
30 years, but have been together 31 years. Been together 31 years.
When's your anniversary?
May 1st.
All right.
May Day, baby. And she asked me, she's like, well, is this going to be live or what do you guys call it around this biz? Tape delay? I don't even know what you call it anymore.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
You're asking the wrong guy. Delayed?
Yeah. So she's just going to hear that. So, honey, I meant 30 years and 31 years of blissfully being with you. Then we have two children. We have a 28-year-old son, Jake, and a 22-year-old daughter, Grace.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is our community. This is our home.
That's
when
awesome.
you came, were you coming from another YMCA that you were?
Yeah, I came from the Dixon YMCA. I was there 3 years as the senior program director over everything other than water. So fitness, youth sports, camps, childcare programs, I was over all of that. Prior to then, I was at the Aurora YMCA. I was there for 2 years. That Y actually no longer exists. It shut down.
Because you left.
Because I left. They couldn't do it without me. But I was just, I was a program director there, just, again, everything but water. And then prior to that, in 1995, I started my career in Mattoon, Illinois, as an intern. and I was the day camp director, and that's what turned me on to the Y. I didn't know anything about the Y. I had never stepped foot in a YMCA up until that point. I thought it was a song, like most people, a great song. But I did day camp director for a summer and fell in love with it and realized that you could go anywhere in the country or the world. The Y is in like 109 countries.
Wow.
So you can go anywhere in the world and work at the Y. So that's what kind of turned me on to it.
Is it the largest chain, like a gym? How do you call it? Is it a gym?
Yeah,
It's the largest social service agency. We are much more than a gym.
That's right.
Victor.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hit on. I like to hit on that every chance I get.
Yeah.
In the fact that it's not an apples to apples when you look at a gym membership or a YMCA membership. And so often, we'll be talking with friends or anyone. I have a membership at the Y and have for quite some time. But people will be like, man, dude, this other gym is $10.99 a month, and it's like, yeah, but that's not apples to apples on here. Not only in like one of those $9.99 a month gyms, they may not have free weights. They don't have other services, maybe like a track or a sauna or a swimming pool or a playground, children activities.
Kids daycare.
Yeah. And then what you mentioned too, you said social service. I mean, they're very active in the communities. By the way, I've never been employed by the Y. I'm not saying all this, just pure observation and working and, being friends with you and Adam and the Knox County Y. But yeah, I've always that's not an apples to apples comparison.
No, and that's a great point. It's so much deeper. The Y is a pretty unique organization in the fact that we do have people who are members at the Y strictly for a treadmill or strictly for the free weight room or noon basketball or whatever the case may be. But it goes so much deeper than that, where we do have, we do one of our signature programs right now is called Rock Steady Boxing. It's for folks with Parkinson's disease. And it's an incredible program. We do anything from diabetes prevention programs. We do mental health programs to help improve your mental health. And we know exercise does that automatically, but we do some intentional things. We have school age childcare. We have, and we've done dance classes. We have fitness classes. We have, it runs the whole gamut of what your community needs. And that's what the Y does. It tailors itself and customizes itself to the needs of your community. And that's what attracted me to the organization 28 years ago now, whatever it's been, is it's not just it's not a one-stop shop, it's not a one-trick pony. There you go. I'll use that cliche. It's not a one-trick pony. You can literally meet your needs in a lot of different ways without ever touching a weight, without ever getting on a treadmill. A lot of people come out. We have a group of people in the mornings who come out and exercise. I'm throwing up air quotes. Some of our seniors, but they're out there for the socialization with friends. They'll spend 3 hours in the coffee area just chatting, playing cards, drinking coffee, just enjoying their time there. So we are a lot of things to a lot of different type of people, for sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And what a great opportunity it's had for you, as well as many, many others, from employment standpoint. Professionally, you started at one location, had some of these duties, have an opportunity of looking at this YMCA network, I assume, and saying, hey, here's a facility hiring for someone with blank, and you've already got your foot in the door. So, you get an opportunity to go here and there, and next thing you know, you're leading the place.
Well, what I like about it is, you don't have to come out of college with any specific degree, right? You have to come out into the workforce wanting to work hard and able to build relationships with people. And my boss in Dixon, she was a history major in college, and then next thing you know, she's a CEO of a YMCA. I came out of college. I thought I was going to teach PE and coach, and here I am running a YMCA. And what I like about it is, you can also tailor your needs professionally as well. You can look at Ys, and I mean, you've got the $100 million YMCA associations like in Chicago or LA or New York, or you have the small to mid-sized YMCAs like Warren County YMCA, Knox County YMCA. And so you can really tailor to what fits you. And so my wife and I, we are a John Mellencamp song. We were born in a small town, raised in a small town. We wanted to live in a small town. And so coming from Dixon, we thought, boy, if we could just end up at a YMCA in a smaller community, that we could just build our life there. That would be what we would want to do. And I never said, it's got to be in Monmouth. But Monmouth happened to pop up. Every month, the YMCA of the USA puts out a national vacancy list. And I just happened to be going through that and saw this opening in Monmouth, Illinois. And I looked at the size of the community, size of the county, and it certainly wasn't the size of the salary, I can tell you that. But it was, we thought, this fits our life. This fits who we want to be. We want to raise our kids in a community like that. And when we got here, again, when I first said, I thought, we'd be moving on and moving up. I never thought I'd be in a Chicago or in a New York, but I thought I'd be in a larger Y. But this community and this Y has just fit us. We've made a lot of good friends. This is where our kids have grown up. And so to your point, Lauren, that's exactly right. You can kind of tailor make your career like that as well too. Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't help anytime someone says Dixon, Illinois, to think of the all the Queen's horses.
Yes.
Were you there during that time?
We were. Of course, it didn't come out until after we left, but I didn't know her. I knew of her name.
Right. I think everyone knew of her.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, this. Have you seen all of the Queen's Horses?
I have.
The documentary?
I have.
You'll have to watch it. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. But this gal who was the treasurer?
Yes.
For the
city treasurer.
And these numbers aren't going to be exact here, but like in her first, well, not her first year, but she had worked there long enough. She found a way to maybe move a little bit of money over here.
Around the $50-some million
Okay.
Not till the first year though. It was like 13,000,
right?
6,000,
right? Something
like that. Very small. Year 2 goes to like 17,000, and then year 3 they had it all afterward when she got caught. Like year 3 was like 30,000, then 80,000, then 117,000. Like, and by the end, you're taking so much money, and you would be like, how is this city not realizing this money, And I think in there's a documentary, All the Queen's Horses. She was taking all this money and buying horses and traveling, showing horses. And everyone is like, where is this lady getting her money?
And she had worked for the city since she was a teenager. And then she got into this position and she was trusted.
Very trusted.
Trusted to the point there was no checks and balances.
When they ask, where's all this money? They say, I don't know, ask her. And she is like, dude, we don't have a problem.
Yeah. And folks just thought she was making all of her money buying and selling horses, going to all these different shows. And she wasn't buying like horses for $5,000 she was buying multi-million-dollar horses.
Right.
Whoa,
Big
that's
bucks.
crazy.
And it was all in the backs of the good folks of Dixon, Illinois.
Okay.
Is what was going on. And
but it has nothing to do with the YMCA.
No,
has nothing to do with the YMCA.
But anytime someone says Dixon, that's where my head goes. Oh, the lady that stole all the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like big
people
money.
know remember Dixon.
Big money. You should watch it. It's crazy.
You should. It's a very interesting watch.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then she leaves on a vacation, basically, and that's where she wasn't there to gather the bank statements for the board meeting. So they say, hey, to the other girl, hey, go get the bank statement so we can have our board meeting. Well, then there was like 7 accounts, and she would always the board knew of 6 accounts, but there were 7, right? So she would pull the 7 out and say, here you go. Well, she wasn't there to pull the 7 out. So then everyone starts looking at her like, what is this one? It just hits the fan from there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But that is so crazy.
Yeah. That's unfortunately Dixon's most recent claim to fame.
It is. She
great,
put him on the map.
She did. Great community, great Y.
Yeah.
But she definitely put him on the map.
Yeah.
The song YMCA, does that have anything to do with the YMCA? Is it the song is because the YMCA?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
Absolutely. It
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, when the Y first started, well, the Y got its origins. Well, let's go all the way back to 1850, right? You know, when the Y got its origins, a man from England, from London, England, named George Williams, his whole plan was to, he looked out in the streets of London, saw all these wayward young men who were just committing robberies and were not good men. His idea was, I need to bring them in and teach them the Bible. I need to teach them the Word of God. Mm-hmm. That's how the Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, came into play. It has obviously done a metamorphosis over the last, 150, 60, so whatever it is, years. Then when this song came about, YMCAs, a lot of YMCAs, and there's not very many of them left, but there are still some out there. There were a lot of residence halls, In fact, our old YMCA here in town that used to be Starting Point here in town, when it was the Y, it had residents. And so if you listen to the words of that song, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. It was all about bringing in people who were down on their luck, and they would come in and the Y would provide shelter. They would provide, food and while people were getting back on their feet. So that's really the origin of that song, but it definitely dealt with the modern day YMCA. Now, moving forward into 2023, I don't know how many residents YMCAs there are out there across the country. It's a very small handful of them. We have one here in Illinois, and it's up in the Chicago suburbs, I believe. But yeah, that's how the song got its origins. And I always wondered, knowing now what I know about it, if the Village people who sang that song, did they ever actually stay at the Y? I mean, did they have that experience? Did they go through all of that? So that's where the song comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know at one point I want to say it was in Bloomington Normal. This is years back, but I saw YWCA. Mm-hmm. And that was the point when I even started to understand what the YMCA stood for, with the M being for men. Mm-hmm. There was YWCAs, right?
Completely different, completely separate.
Not even tied?
Not even tied. Not tied at all. Completely separate. They have programming. I mean, there's some similarities in some of the programming, but they really focus on women in terms of battered women, in terms of domestic abuse things,
safe housing,
in terms of safe housing, in terms of, they do a lot of great things like that. Mm-hmm. YMCAs can do that as well, but they kind of specialize in that type of stuff. Young mothers, and things of that nature. They really they've got a great mission. YWCAs are kind of falling out. Not falling out, it's not the right word, but there are not as many of them as there used to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, completely separate. However, there are, and I believe Burlington, Iowa, they used to, and I think they still are. They have a YW collaboration in their building. Sure. So now they would likely have, I don't know enough about, but they would likely have independent boards, independent budgets, probably share expenses for building and things of that, and maybe even share some staff. But they definitely have different missions and philosophies, if in fact they are still doing that. So, but yeah, YW, and I'm not sure how long it's been around, but it's been a while since it's been around.
Is the YMCA as a franchise still growing, like opening locations or it stopped a little bit? How does
there's definitely attrition each year, usually in smaller communities. YMCAs, like smaller ones, either they are closing or they are being absorbed by a larger Y close by. Mm-hmm. Might be happening. I don't think the number of associations are necessarily growing. I'd say they're probably becoming less, but a lot of that is because of maybe merging.
Because there was an YMCA in every single town in the U.S.
I can't. I should know these numbers off the top of my head, and I don't. But there's over 2,000 YMCA organizations across the country. I'm not sure how many there are worldwide. And you get into other countries and it's completely different.
Yeah,
I bet.
Completely different. I mean, the emphasis isn't on a treadmill or a weight room. Emphasis might be on feeding the homeless. Emphasis might be on helping with the sex slave, or not sex slave, but you know what I mean?
Trafficking.
Trafficking. Thank you. Sex trafficking. So they got completely, you get out in these different countries and it's
still at the heart of social.
Still at the heart of social.
That's the mission,
sure.
anyways. Is always to be the community.
Right. And that's why I like I was earlier saying, I get like passionate about that for the YMCA. And like when people try to say, I mean, it's okay if you want to have the there's nothing wrong with the $9.99 a month gym, or that's great. Right. But don't say like, man, they're not this. No, they aren't the same. Yeah,
it's not even close. And for those who strictly are all about, just want to do their physical fitness and the weightlifting and whatnot, and they choose the other route.
That's great.
That's fine. That's fine. Our rates aren't $10 a month, but you get so much more in that, and
you're giving back to your community on top of it.
Right.
Like, even if it's not what's in it for me.
Right. Right. Your membership dues, I mean, they do a lot of things. They pay salaries. They offer scholarships to kids who can't afford to be at the Y. They offer Christmas, potentially Christmas gifts for families who can't afford to have Christmas. And that's why we also do fundraising to provide all of that. So the layers are so much deeper. If the other's all you want, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. You can get that from the Y for sure, the physical fitness and whatnot. But if it definitely goes deeper.
So Sam, before you came to Illinois, or you didn't grow up in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Why did I think you had some ties to Iowa? So don't you go to Iowa once a year and work in some burger shop, or like?
I go to Illinois, Southern Illinois, to work in my sister's burger shop.
Okay.
So very good.
Why
recall.
did I think that was in Iowa? I have no idea.
I don't know.
So I'm sorry on that.
Nope. I was born and raised in Shelbyville, Illinois. The booming metropolis of 5,500 people, graduating class of 87. In fact, when I leave here today, my daughter and I are going down to Shelbyville, and I'm going to work in my sister's restaurant for the next few days, just because my brother-in-law isn't in great health and he can't do it. So we're going down there, and I'm going to be on the grill, man. I'm going to be flipping burgers.
So that's right. I could have swore like once a year. Maybe,
well, it's not
more.
Once a year, but I've been down there before. It usually revolves around his health.
And you're literally going just after this.
As soon as we're done here, I'm going to go home and put on my pickleball champion T-shirt and my athletic shorts, and we're headed 3 hours south to go work at my sister's restaurant.
And bringing your daughter.
And bringing my daughter.
That's cool.
She's going down. We're going to work together and be on the grill. She'll be making drinks and ice cream, and it'll be fun.
And so she still lives where you guys grew up?
No, my daughter lives here in Monmouth.
No, your sister.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So when you get down there, will you see like old high school buddies, people you grew up with?
Yep.
Or you catch up with them?
Typically. We've been away since 1995. And I don't know, 10 years ago or so, Shelbyville they actually built a super Walmart. And, you always have to run to Walmart for something, right? You'd think going out there, I would recognize people. I grew up there. I lived there until I was 21 years old, 22 years old. Man, I go out there, I don't recognize anybody. I guess we've been gone long enough that, but a lot of my high school buddies are still there. My sister owns a 72-foot houseboat on the lake at the marina. That's where we're going to stay. Rough life. We get to stay on the lake, but when we go down there, it's mainly family we get to see, and
just relax.
Just relax. Good. Just relax. It's It's worth the trip down.
Sam, how much control each YMCA location has when it comes to choosing what type of programs they have? How much influence has the headquarters? Like, do they decide to a lot of stuff, or is it more up to
We
the
really
CEO?
have full control.
Okay.
We are independent. Think of opening up a McDonald's, but you got to pay McDonald's a franchise fee, right? You pay the corporate headquarters. So we have what we call national dues, and we have to meet YMCA of the USA membership standards in order to call ourselves a YMCA.
Okay.
And they keep adding those standards every year, but I want to say there's close to 15 of those standards that we have to meet, and thankfully we meet those every year. Beyond that, we don't have to do any specific program. We could just wipe the slate clean and say we are now going to do nothing but grease pig wrestling type of stuff. If you're from a small town, you know what that is. We're going to do nothing but that, and we can do that.
Okay,
we can do that. The membership aspect of the YMCA tells us we have to have standards that meet their qualifications, and it can, obviously, we have, inclusive. We have to be, we can't discriminate. We have to offer, fee assistance and scholarships and things of that nature. So when we meet all of that type of stuff, then we can choose what we want to do. What the national office gives to local Ys is, things like if I want to, best practices type of things. Like if we're running our youth sports programs and we're having some issues, we could check in with them, and they have experts there who maybe have done this for years, or they have best practices that they can pass along to us that maybe we can try. The problem that YWCA has is trying to say, well, this works great in Chicago. Well, what's good for Chicago isn't always good for Monmouth, Illinois, or vice versa. Like what works in Monmouth wouldn't work in Chicago.
Yeah.
So they just kind of give you a general, whether it be recommendation or an overview of something. But locally, if you're an independent YMCA like we are, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do, provided you have met those membership standards.
So is the franchise model similar to McDonald's, where YMCA owns the real estate, and then you can... Who owns? What happens if I want to open a YMCA? Just an example.
That's a great question. Who owns the YMCA? At the end of the day, if the Y went out of business tomorrow, the city would absorb the property and things of that nature. Really, the kind of short answer would be the membership. I mean, even though there's no ownership papers in it. The YMCA is a 501c3, meaning it's a charitable organization. Yeah. It has articles of incorporation. So to answer that is, I'm not 100% sure who owns the Y.
Who sent the money here first to build that building, for example? Is it the YMCA headquarters?
It's no. It's all. So if you wanted to go to Abingdon, Illinois, let's go back to Abingdon all of a sudden, and you go there and you want to open up a YMCA. The first thing you would do is you would gather a group of people and you'd figure out how to raise the money. Oh, okay. And that money you would get raised through going out and fundraising. It's
a nonprofit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, the national office does not provide fund. They would give you like a template of the steps you need to go through in order to get that started.
The branding.
Right. Yeah. And we got to meet definitely brand standards and things of that nature. But in order, for them to cut a check to get you started, they don't do that. Right. They don't do that. Okay. So we have to come up with all that on our own.
Okay. But being able to have the name of it behind you, and say, hey, this is what we're doing. So even speaking of raising capital, I mean, that's a very important part of your job. You guys have banners all throughout the gym, many businesses and families that support you guys. Yeah. So you got a new program or a new idea wanting to build on an addition like the 24-hour part. You got to go back to the drawing board. Right. And why don't you talk a little bit what some of that may look like? Fundraising, campaigning, whatever.
Yeah, and and fundraising has had many different faces in my 28-year career. Where it has kind of slipped back is a lot of times YMCAs, or when I was coming up in the business, YMCAs would do what they call just their annual support campaign. And they would go out and they would beat the bushes, and folks would give money, and they still do, and people still do this. They give money just to help support, whether it be help funding the fee assistance program for scholarships, or whether it just help keep your program and membership rates affordable, or just to help fund operations. Those days are declining a little bit. People nowadays are more inclined to give to projects. They're more inclined to give to seeing something come into fruition, like a building or a signature type program that might come into play, and it's almost like they can put their stamp on that and say, man, I helped do that. Mm-hmm. I've done fundraising at 4 different YMCAs, and they've all been unique in the way you have to approach it. We've decided in Monmouth, being a small community, there are a lot of extremely worthy organizations who need contributed dollars, mm-hmm. right? And so being a small community, there's only so many of those contributed dollars to go around. And so we didn't want to be out there all the time with our hand out, and while, whether it be Jameson Center or Strom Center, and I don't mean to leave anybody out, so there's tons
XYZ,
of XYZ.
Sure.
There's tons of them in our community. They need those same dollars as well. So we took the approach of doing a one-time fundraiser, like you mentioned, the banners. We call that our Kids Need Heroes banner campaign. And we feel like it's very affordable. It's a one-time $300 a year contribution. And for that, we give you a recognition banner in our gym. It's a nice, big, bright, colorful banner that has either a company logo on it, or it has your family name on it. And we have a smaller banner that hangs out over at our outdoor pool. And with that, we raise, and the money raised there, again, it has the same purpose though. It helps fund our fee assistance program. It helps fund maybe some new programs we're trying to start up from scratch. But it definitely is the same philosophy, just kind of a different approach to it. And with that, we raise anywhere between $28,000 to $33,000 a year just through that. And so we've decided, we're not going to go back to our community and quote unquote tax them again and ask them again. Now, if you're looking at a big project, like we're going to be looking at if we were looking at to build onto the YMCA, and it's a $500,000 to a $2 million project, or whatever the case may be, then that's a whole nother strategy. Then you talk with potential foundations in town first. You look for grant money out there. You look for maybe some donors in our community who could help you in a significant way. So there's different approaches for different fundraising. Mm-hmm. And it's fundraising, people sometimes are like, I can never do that. At the end of the day, if you believe in your cause, if you believe in what you're doing, you just have to understand that not everybody feels as passionate as you are about it. And it's okay. It's okay, And so if I would ask somebody, they're like, yeah, we're just not interested. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe next time something will light their fire. Sure. And I'll use.
Have you ever tried, like, what? Do you hate kids? Do you ever try?
I haven't gone down that road yet.
That's why you got to put it right back on.
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, you don't like the community.
Yeah.
Is it the community or the kids?
Oh, so you hate Monmouth? Okay, well I just want to make sure who you are.
Yeah.
No.
Next thing you know, they're signing that check.
Yeah. It's usually how it works, right? Yeah. But like our Rock Steady boxing program, there are people who are passionate about that because we're working with folks with Parkinson's disease. There's no cure for it, but there's things we can do to help them with their mobility, with their cognitive therapy, to help for the brain to tell your arms and legs what to do, and It's all about balance. It's all about cognitive thinking. It's all about, and there's some people who are passionate about that. So you just have to go to them and talk to them about it, and they'll say, well, here's $5,000. Right. Please buy the equipment they need.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's different. There's you fundraise for restricted things. Like we're specifically fundraising for this, and your money will only be used for this. Just like when we built the pool. I mean, even though the Patty Foundation, they funded that, but that's what that money was for. It was to build that pool, and that's it.
Which turned out great, by the way.
Turned out great.
That was really cool. I think, I feel like COVID was right in the midst of that.
We started
right when you started building.
We started construction in late summer of 19.
Right.
And it had just started getting rolling, and by March 18th of 2020, to be exact,
right,
boom, it hit. Now,
I remember at one point, walking out and standing on the dirt with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember
that.
I
do. Kind of, I was showing you where things were going to, this will be the deep end here. This will.
And I'm like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen, man. I mean, because in that pandemic, we had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it just got to like, what the heck?
Yeah. And I got to give a shout out to those who, the contractors who are working. They never stopped. It might have slowed a little bit just because workers not coming to work, or them getting their materials delivered when they needed to, but they never stopped working. So I was very impressed with that. But so it probably took us a year longer to open up than what we had planned.
Yeah. Sam, when it comes to memberships, more like on the gym side, Lauren was talking about some gyms that charge $10 a month. But the model on that type of gym is they know that people will not go to the gym. They will keep paying there. And because if everybody that's a member goes to the gym, they wouldn't be able to keep up with maintenance and everything.
Right.
Do you think 90% of your members that pay every month just don't go to the gym or don't use the facilities?
Everybody comes, Victor, to the Y. And, that's a trick
How
question.
does that differ? How is the Y different from gyms that people just pay and don't go there?
I mean, of course we have people who, honestly, and I'll go back to COVID. Whenever we were shut down for 3.5 months. Mm-hmm. And we decided to take on the task of calling as many members. We tried to call everybody, but we probably missed some as we could, because we didn't want to not offer a service and have them continue to pay without essentially asking their permission. Mm-hmm. What we heard was from the overwhelming people we called was, no, continue to take it out of my account. I'm going to continue to pay. I believe in the Y and what it does. Mm-hmm. That was great to hear.
That is awesome.
That was great to hear.
Yeah.
We did also hear our fair share of, I forgot I even had a membership. Go ahead and drop me.
Right.
We did hear that.
Absolutely.
We did hear that. Mm-hmm. And so, that was, we had those great days and we had those, okay, well, we just
knew I shouldn't.
We just reminded him.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have called him.
Yeah, doggone it. Whose bright idea was this to call these people? But we also, and then people would maybe just put their membership on hold. Yeah. And then when COVID, we opened back up, they came back. So there are those people, I mean, I would say, I'll put it this way. I just typically, on average, we have our software program that tracks. On average, we have anywhere from 50 to 60,000 scan-ins a year. Okay. So we have, people roll through there quite a bit. But there are people out there for sure who, have great intentions, but they decide they want to keep it because, even though I didn't use it, I'm going to go ahead and.
It might be next week.
It might be next week,
Next Monday.
Or it might be just one look in the mirror and going, I got to get to the Y.
Right.
I mean, that's how I am every day I wake up. Woo! I gotta go get in the pool.
I can't afford today off.
No, I have got to go get it today. So, but there is that. But really, and truthfully, at the end of the day, when we were making those phone calls, it was very encouraging to hear the number of people who just said, "Keep my membership going," because I believe in what the Y does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And several were people who they might come out once a month or once every other month, but that's their contribution to the Y.
And just like I said, it's going to mean something different to everybody.
Right.
You know, but yeah, that's great when you start. And that's one thing I will say, like, I'm not from Monmouth. You know, I started coming to Monmouth 10 and a half years ago for work, and very quickly was impressed with this community, the generosity, the support that so many of these families and businesses do have for this town. It's pretty impressive.
You know, anytime I'm on the radio or things like this, or I'm at Freezing for Food, or I'm at a Rotary or Kiwanis, whatever, I say this every time. This community blows me away.
That's why you're still here.
Yeah, it blows me away. I can't get over how supportive. When there's a need, this community will meet it. It's just that simple. And, you know, we live in a day of social media, and you get on there and there's just a lot of rotten stuff on social media. Yeah. And if that's what you base your opinion of our community off of, then you're very short-sighted. Yeah. It goes so much deeper than that. And this community just blows me away in terms of what they'll do, how they step up to meet needs. You know, the Y may need something here, and this section of the population meets it. This section may not, because it didn't really appeal to them. But there may be something else that appeals to them. And so, you know, at the end of the day, and you're right, Lauren, that's why we're still here. And we were grafted into this community, you know, in 2001, and this is home now. I mean, this is home.
Well, Victor said we really need subscribers for this show. So do you think you could tell the community?
What do we have? How many people are we talking to right now?
We need to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We might sponsor the Y, so you put our logo there. Subscribe to the
Next
podcast.
time we need a banner.
Hey, Clear Profits does sponsor. You didn't even know they do sponsor the Y.
But we need this up there.
I'm talking about it podcast.
Oh, that one. Gotcha.
We need that up there.
Gotcha.
And then when you do your tours, you can be like, hey, these guys.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to give your money, I'm the guy to talk to. I'll be happy to take it. Absolutely. No questions asked.
When I got here in this area, the Y didn't have the 24-hour option. We didn't have the pool. The pool is recent. What are the plans for the future? Is there any plans to keep growing?
Yeah. In fact, there is. We are in process of purchasing right across the street from the Y. It used to be the old First Choice Medical Building. We are in the process of purchasing that. We are going to renovate that, and that's where all of our day camp kids are going to meet. That's where all of our after-school program kids, and they come after school, they're going to meet. Those programs have grown to the point to where it's becoming destructive in our current building. You know, because we have all these other members coming in and out, and then you have a bunch of kids in there. So we've in the process of purchasing that. We've also are in process of purchasing the house right next door to that we're going to tear down and put a parking lot in there. And again, this is money that has been contributed. I mean, this is, you know, people hear that like, oh, the Y's got all kinds of money. Well, you know, we have generous people who help us do these things.
Sure.
So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be, you know, my long-term goal, and long-term maybe in the next 2 to 5 years, I would like to build an addition onto the YMCA. It'd be just on the east side of the Y. We have a sand volleyball pit there.
Yeah.
Build onto there and relocate all of our treadmills, all of our cardio equipment, all of our strength equipment, everything under one roof.
Oh.
It would still be connected to the Y, but make that under one roof. And then the rooms that are vacated from there, then we need more space to do kid type programming. We need more space. You know, I would like to, there's a lot of hoops to jump through to do this, but I would love to use one of our, if you can picture, you know, we have those 2 free weight rooms right there. I would like to use one of those rooms, renovate it, and I would like to hire professional mental health counselors and actually have our own mental health facility, because there's such a shortage. There's such a shortage, and we need more people. And I would like for the Y to get into that business, if you will, and see where it goes. And there's the Y in Champaign does that. That's kind of where I got the idea. And I thought, wow, I mean, that can really work. And he's, their CEO, Jeff Scott, has worked me through some of that. And there's definitely hoops and red tape to jump through, but it's not inconceivable at all.
No, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
And again, again, you're not going to get that at these other places.
Right.
This is what we would do. And because it's a community need.
And on top of that, as you're naming all that stuff in my head, I'm like, more jobs,
right.
More jobs,
right?
Good jobs,
yeah, good jobs to come through here. And then maybe in the second one, I mean, and not to take any business away from anybody, but we need physical therapists. We need different things like that in this community because so many people need these things. Maybe not all the needs are getting met. Maybe the other room becomes that we get a physical therapist in or something like that. So these are just things that we've talked about at the board level, things that we feel like would be beneficial for our community. And again, so that's what makes us unique, from other gyms.
Right. Well, and I even just think of the standpoint of having the board, which is typically very involved, active members of the community. So they're in tune of like, hey, what are we missing? What could we use? Right. So getting that many like-minded, good, positive brains together could usually present,
and those
ideas.
are the people. That's a great point, Lauren. Those are the people we need on our board. People who aren't coming on with a specific agenda of, what, I really think we need that gym wall red, or we need to paint it white. Or we need people who are coming on, so because we have a great staff and we're visionaries, but we don't see it all. We need people who are coming
you're
from
in the trenches already.
Yeah, I mean, what's the old thing? You can't see the forest because of the trees.
Yeah,
you're just kind of you get tunnel vision sometimes, and we need people to to speak up and say, well, what about fill in the blank? What about this? And we're open to different things, and so that's to be on the Y board. That's the most important part. Way back in the day, the most important part was, well, I wonder how much money they can give,
right.
and that's
not even knowing what it's for,
right? And that's and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not down yet, but to me, we need to get the scope needs to be so much bigger than that. And what does our community need, and how can we stretch beyond, the city limits of Monmouth, because we are the Warren County YMCA, so we need to stretch out,
When you think on that too, how different is it to come and say, Sam, I know you're in a great position. I could really use $50,000 donation. I don't know what it's for, not yet, but I could really use it. As opposed to coming and saying, hey, we got this idea. We're going to build this pool. It reminds me when I was a banker, people would come to the bank and, they'd say, hey, I got this business idea. Hear me out. And it's all right here. Now they have nothing on paper. We have no plan. We have no steps. Right. And so to get someone's buy-in just off of that, it's going to be so much more difficult,
Right.
Like, so what do you want me to do about it? I'd say nothing, but this idea.
You could be like that Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man. He just yes every request that came in, yes, I'll do it. But no, I mean, you've got to have that vision, you got to have that passion, but you got to have the details and the old, when the rubber hits the road, here's what it's going to look like. Otherwise, it's just a pipe dream, and and anymore, people who give money and people who I mean, it's not, they want to know. That's why I said earlier, the giving has seemed to kind of gear itself more toward project giving, because they want to see, and a project giving doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a building. It could be a signature program like Rocksteady Boxing, but they want something they can go, that's what I help give to.
Right. That's awesome.
And I think that's key, especially when funds are limited in your community like we are here, not because of anything other than there's just a lot of terrific organizations out there doing great work and they need help too. So, I mean, everybody needs support, and we collaborate with some of those, and we would collaborate with all of them, the best we could, to help each other out, and so, and we've got a great we just got a great community. We really do. And I have nothing but admiration for the people in this community who really take pride in who we are here.
Mm-hmm. We do. We got a good amount of them.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy, Sam, that what may have at the time sounded like a silly job in Mattoon, and what ride and opportunities that's provided you. But I'm really glad you came and shared with Victor and I your journey.
Yeah.
I think the world of you, man.
I appreciate it, Lauren.
Yep.
Lauren and I have been friends for
10.5 years.
Yeah, a long time. Started doing that. And
really before COVID, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we spent at least an hour and a half together.
Yeah.
Playing pickleball?
Basketball.
Oh.
Basketball. That's before his knees.
That's before my niece said, "Let's try pickleball."
Yeah.
So now he
I was working there at that time.
and I'm saying, and then Victor.
I see him on a ladder one day changing light bulbs. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, and then Victor
He
came
was doing
to
that
us
wrong.
and because you were going to school, right?
Yeah,
You were
it was in my
working through all
last
that?
year of school.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
like, what, 19, 20?
No, I was. That was like 4 years ago, right?
Oh, is that all?
4 or 5.
5.
Well, Victor
COVID is
actually,
almost 4.
he actually helped Russ and I move my son into his current house because we're like, well, we need the Y truck. Hey, Victor, come with us and help us move. And he did. So there's good and that's the beauty of a small town. There's connections right here.
Right.
Sitting across the table from each other, there's connections, and they're going to be lifetime connections.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it cool. And being in a community like this, everything is very personal.
Yeah.
And if you can't build a relationship, then you're going to be first of all, you can't be in the Y business if you can't build relationships.
Right.
But you would struggle being in a small community if you don't do that. So I appreciate you guys asking me on. I was wondering what took so long. I've been waiting for the call, so you must have had like people way more important than me.
No,
to come
your
in.
calendar was so booked. We've been trying
that
to
what
get
it was?
you in here for
Is that
a few
what it
months.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you've definitely been on our radar for quite some time, and I'm thankful that you came in today.
I appreciate the invite, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
I'll definitely talk about it to people for
yeah.
sure. What'd you think
Do
of that?
it.
Huh?
That'll
And then
help
come
you.
talk to us when it's banner time. Hopefully we have enough subscribers by then. We can buy one.
How many do you need? 1,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000 would be great.
Yeah, we could take 1,000 more.
Right.
I don't even know where we're at, but I'm sure we're doing just fine.
Yeah.
I do thank you, all of you listening, for your continued support. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, this is a great opportunity to do so. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And today, Sam Brooks with your Warren County YMCA. We appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your week.
See you guys next week.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Talk About It podcast.
I'm Victor Dantas.
I'm Lauren Fulmer.
And we would encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell. It's going to be right below the video. So
Hit the bell.
So you know when the next episode is up. All
We
right?
appreciate all the support.
Thank you.